All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol IDEX, Ideanomics Inc. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all my first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all my subscribers, welcome back, and let's jump into this chart. So, IDEX broke through support. It hit newer lows, which we need to watch, and we're going to look at that closely. But the bulls did reappear, brought this back up, slightly broke through the 50-day moving average, but it's still hanging out below the 50-day moving average in bearish territory. We're at 233 right now. The most important resistance level from yesterday to start working up to newer highs, and now it's slightly above the 50-day moving average, was 238. So they've missed it by a few cents. We're going to have to watch this closely. This is getting very narrow here. So we're going to look at this in a much more narrow perspective as I move the resistance and supports to their new location. But I do want us to look at this a little bit broader. Now, if we zoom out, IDEX is slowly falling down. When you look at the chart from a outer perspective and broader perspective, it's going in this direction. Before, it was going in this direction, upward movement. Now it's going in this direction. So every time it looks like the bulls are reappearing, the bears continue to tear this down. You can see that here. You can also see it here as that momentum was bringing itself up and then it fell. And then you can see it here and it's been falling. So now the question is this going to repeat itself? Or are now the bulls going to use this momentum? Obviously it leveled off and work their way up to newer highs and create the staircase effect to work their way up to newer highs and deeper into bullish territory. These are the things we need to watch for now as this continues to play out. But let's go ahead and look at this closely, because I did state yesterday in yesterday's video how if this broke through these lows down here of about 222, 220, give or take, this would start to see newer lows. We clearly saw that, but the bulls have reappeared pretty strong. Now, strong enough to bring themselves up to build some momentum. And like I just showed in the diagram and in the illustration, to bring themselves up and continue that staircase effect, right? And work their way up to newer highs and continue that bounce as they continue the momentum. But they missed the most important part right now, which was getting above the 50-day moving average. They touched it and they broke through it. It only lasted about an hour, and now it's leveled off slightly below it. I'm not saying that the bulls can't break through these points, but it's right now looking pretty tough and making it seem like the bears are having a slight upper hand here, even though the bulls have created some momentum. So like I said, this is going to be very narrow. We're going to look at this closely, and I want to look at this a little bit broader, right? So the 50-day moving average is 237. I'd write that down. As long as we're below it, we're in bearish territory. The moment we're above it, we're in bullish territory. The lowest point reached here in this bearish run is 170. This is probably the most important support level in the near term, days or weeks from now, depending on the volatility of where this is heading. And if this support level is broken through, we can break it down between this support, and I actually want to move it back, and a midway point here with 208. So I want you guys to remember yesterday's support level. You can kind of draw that line or have these points of reference written down to see the behavior in between each level. And then the lowest point was 170 reached today. That's the most important support level. If this breaks through 208, you can watch the behavior between 208 and 170. And if 170 is broken through, we would start to see newer lows. But right now, we don't have to worry about that so much. We want to focus in on these numbers, but I wanted every single investor to remember yesterday's support level as a midway point, and then also keep in mind the lowest point reached. The highest point reached, which slightly broke through the 50-day moving average for 30 minutes in the day, was 250. That's the most important resistance level for the bulls to pull further away from the 50-day moving average and work their way up to newer highs. So I want every single investor to be aware of that. But let's look at our resistance and support for tomorrow. So if support is broken through, we already know down here at 208 is the next point of reference to see the behavior in between support and 208. If 208 is broken through, two support levels have been broken through. This is getting deeper into bearish territory and pulling away from the 50-day moving average in a downward direction. And we have from 208 to 170, time to see what's going on. But before getting to any of those points, our first support level here is 228. I want every single investor to be aware of this. Pay close attention to this. If 228 is broken through, you could see how it's reacting between 228 and 208. If the bulls are trying to reappear, or are the bears dominating this? Because we're already in bearish territory, and breaking through 228 is just going to signify that this is getting deeper into bearish territory, hitting newer lows, newer support levels, and pulling further away from the 50-day moving average. So the tug of war is going to be interesting here. We're pretty close. The bears are still dominating, and the bulls are almost there to cross the 50-day moving average and get back into bullish territory. But we're still below it. But if 228 is crossed, I highly emphasize to all investors, pay close attention to the behavior of the stock and what is going on. On the other hand, we have what the bulls want. And the bulls want to break through the 50-day moving average to get back into bullish territory. But their goal is to pull further away from it into bullish territory to reach new highs and new resistance levels. Well, the first resistance level they need to break through is 241. If 241 is broken through, then our next resistance level is up here at 250. And from 250, we have way up here at 278. But before worrying about 250 and 278, the first resistance level that the bulls need to break through is 241. And by doing so, they've crossed the 50-day moving average. They've turned 241 into a support. And if they break away from it, they're pulling further away from the 50-day moving average and in upward direction. So that is very important. And I want to emphasize that the bulls need to break through this and pull away from it to start working their way up into bullish territory and start gaining control over the chart. Because as long as they continue this sideways movement and they don't break through the 50-day moving average, they won't have control over the chart, and the bears are always going to continue to dominate this until they see exhaustion from the bulls, and the bears are going to pull this down. So I want every single investor to be aware of that as well. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. At the end of this video, there's going to be a pop-up video, and in that video, I will be discussing about the S&P 500 index and how it's been rising several points on scheduled dates. As you see here on the graph, these circles are the dates that the pumps have happened, and I use them as examples to show you guys how much the stocks have risen, and the S&P 500 index rose on those dates. And the reason why it's rising is due to the fact that the Federal Reserve is pumping the markets. On these dates, the charts and the dates speak for themselves, as we can see it here. And I break it down into more detail in the video. But just to summarize it, on these dates, the S&P 500 rises, and there's individual ticker symbols rising up with it. Anywhere from 30 cents to $3 per share. I know it may not seem like a lot, but per share that does add up, and these individual ticker symbols are giving you back profits. These are profits, and like I always say, profits are profits. Whether it's $1 put into the market and you get back $2, you've put in an initial investment and you got back more than what you started with. That's what it's all about. And also in the video, I go into further detail showing you guys these dates and showing you how much it rose. Like, for example, this was one of the last pump dates, and the lowest point that it reached was down here at 35.11, and the highest point reached was 35.57. That's like a 40-point jump. And here we're seeing the same thing. It went down to 35.88, and it rose up to about, I'd say, let's see, this is all still in the same day. It rose up to about a total amount of 36.23. When you do the math, that's almost a 40 to 50 point jump, and there's individual ticker symbols rising up with this. Now, I'm not there to guarantee you profits. I'm not there to tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm just here to inform every single investor on the great news on the opportunity to maximize profits and minimize losses. You have to do your due diligence and research, but these charts and the dates speak for themselves. I mean, this was probably one of the largest jumps that I've seen in the last couple of pumps, and it was down here at 33.02 and it rose up to about 33.88. That was an 80-point jump. There was probably ticker symbols rising up more than $3 per share on those dates. And even on these dates, there's individual ticker symbols rising more than $3 per share. Check it out, see for yourselves, and my best advice is look for ticker symbols that may be resembling the behavior of the S&P 500 index, and you'll be able to go ahead and give it a shot. Check it out. Again, I'm not there to tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm not there to guarantee you profits. I'm just here to go ahead and share the information along with every single viewer and investor. The video should be popping up soon. If you haven't seen it already, pop up. There is the link down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.